Hello everyone, welcome to my video. Today I want to talk about the fact that I finished my first draft, and I'm really excited to talk about it because I've been writing the first draft for about the longest I can remember. It's been probably 6 to 7 months now, and it doesn't really feel like a long time, but it is actually. And yeah, I really took time with this novel. I didn't really want it to finish. And now I'm going to start with the real writing, which is actually the editing of the first draft. So for me, the first draft was just to know the story. It's actually like that, basically. And it was just kind of knowing the story and knowing where it's going and finishing it just felt really good. But I didn't also kind of wanted it to finish because the story wasn't just any story. It was like basically I've given it a part of my daily routine, and I've shared a lot of my experiences into this book, into the story. So it's really fun to kind of look back to it. But it's also kind of sad to know that I won't be, writing the story again. Um, Even though I'm really excited about um, editing or starting with the real writing, which is the editing. So yeah, that's just what I wanted to talk about today. And it's not going to be a very like a video that has every kind of knowledge in it. It's just my own experience. So about that. What I wanted to talk about is also the fact that right now, like the first draft has 72,000 words, which is actually, I think the same kind of word count that I had with my third book. So I thought that this story is going to be a lot, shorter because it didn't really match my imagination. I used to think the story was a lot shorter because it had not really much characters. It didn't really have a big kind of setting. It was just basically a kind of an indie story. So yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of, I think 20,000 words I just wrote like, um, the past month. So I think it didn't really matter how long I write. It mattered or how much I write. It was just about how much the story needed. And the moment I stopped worrying about word count, or the moment I stopped worrying about how much I'm writing, that was the moment where I started getting the best ideas and yeah, the best kind of stories I could write. And the moment where I was like really enjoying kind of writing, that was the moment I got the most word counts. I mean, it doesn't really even matter if what kind of how much words there is in a story. The only thing that I was kind of skeptical about was me getting a writer's block and not really being able to continue the story and me losing interest in the story, which didn't really happen because before this story or before this book, I was writing another book and I have talked about it before. I mean, I was doing doing videos at that time as well. and I have talked about how it was really hard for me to think or to um, write that story because it was just so messed up. It was just so long and it has so many characters and it didn't really match the atmosphere that I was searching for in a story. And I was just focusing on aesthetic instead of really liking the whole story instead, which doesn't really is not really good for a writer. So I stopped that story and then I started with this one, No Reason Given is the name of is the title of the book. And yeah, this one just hit and I started writing it and it was not really me doing anything dramatic. It was just me writing every single day. I did struggle with keeping up with the book and keeping up with the writing. I had a um, word count that I wrote every single day. For example, I think at the beginning it was like 600 words every single day, but then I kind of minimalized it into like 400 words or, the half of it, like 300 words every single day. And I did try to kind of keep up with that, but sometimes it didn't really, work. Sometimes it did. Sometimes I even wrote a lot more. And I think it was just about, how busy I am with my other stuff in life. Um, and the moment I'm like, the moment there's like a lot of stuff going on in my mind with, you know, other things in my life, I cannot really concentrate on like a story or on my novel writing. So I think the biggest issue was that. And when like, the summer holidays started, I didn't really, you know, of course I did want to kind of finish this story, not really finish it, just like continue it to an extent where I could know where this was going and how it's going to end. And I did. And it was pretty chilled um, than I expected it to be because I didn't really force myself to do it. I just used to have like there are days where I would just go out and like being like a playground, for example. And used to be days where I would be like I used to go out in like the park or something, and I used to just do activities and come home and just write about it. And then I used that in my book. And I don't really know how I kind of managed to write those experiences down, but then I kind of connected it to the book and to the characters, which helped a lot. And yeah, that was just afterwards I read it and it was pretty good scenes. So yeah, it was just like I said, it was very relaxing. I was not really, stressing too much about it. And I think the moment I stopped stressing, the moment I stopped worrying about finishing this book or, about any sort of, panicking stuff, that was the moment where I could finish the first draft and know where the story is going and how it's going to end. So yeah, I've not really started with the first draft yet. I have been taking a day off because I think the moment you kind of um, write or finish the story, you there's just a lot of stuff going on in your mind and you just need a break from it. So that is what I've been doing. I've been not really thinking too much about any stuff, and I just want to have a clear mind before I go in and start with um, the writing. Yeah, and one other stuff that I wanted to talk about was the little short cinematic videos that I've been doing. So I've not really said it before, but last week we went to the mountains for like a little vacation kind of stuff. And there was like a lot of mountains, and it is a very countryside kind of a place, and there were not a lot of people, and I just had time to kind of, you know, relax for a minute and not really have any kind of, you know, stuff or pressure from something. So that was the moment where I started like, filming little or like short, um, cinematic videos. And afterwards, I just like put it in CapCut and just, um, edited it. And yeah, then I posted it because I wanted to, and it was pretty chilled. So, and I think after a while, after, seeing content from like talking all the time, you kind of get bored. So I want to do something different as well. And one of the things that I love is also filming and yeah, watching a lot of movies and writing. So I thought, okay, it might change um the setting or something, the mood. And yeah, I just posted it and it did got 1K view or something, which I thought was pretty cool because um I kind of edit, I put it in these like templates with the music of like, I don't really remember the music, but it was kind of nostalgic greencore um vibe, and I just put it into that, and it turned out to be really good. So I posted it, and a lot of people liked it. So I would say that, you know, it did kind of match. It does kind of those videos do match my book atmosphere. So yeah, I also like greencore, so I think it's pretty weird, but it's also satisfying in some ways. I don't really know how to describe it though. But yeah, I mean, that was what I wanted to talk about. I don't really have anything else that I want to talk about. I mean, writing, um, writing. I think the best kind of chapters that I've gotten was when I went to the library and I had a cup of cappuccino, and I was sitting in the library and I was writing. That was the best chapters I've ever wrote from that, you know, from those days. But I don't think it really depends on where you are. It does influence you, I think. For some people, it doesn't matter. For some people, it does. But I think the most important stuff is when you enjoy it. If you enjoy going to the library and writing there, and if you think that you're going to be able to concentrate, then it's really nice, then go ahead and do that. Or when you like it to be at home and like write, that is also cool. I do both, and most of the times I write at like um in my living room, sitting on the couch. So I don't think it really depends. It doesn't really like matter where you are. I think what matters is if your mind is clear and you can think straight and just like right. So yeah, so that was it. I hope it um yeah, that was just an update on my situation right now. So yeah, thanks so much for watching.